Hi, today I'll be going through how to construct a box and whisker plot, as well as how to read data off one. So, to start, there are 5 things you need to construct a box and whisker plot, as is seen here. So the first thing we need is the smallest value. And in here, this data set represents the shoe sizes of a variety of people. So here our smallest value is 1.5. We also need the lower quartile, which here is 4. And what your lower quartile is essentially the number which is placed at the position of 25% of your data set. So here we have a range of shoe sizes from 1 to 14. And when we see that our lower quartile is 4, this means that at the 25th percent position of our data, we will find 4. And then we have the median, which is our middle number, the upper quartile, which is the number at the 75th percent position or at 3/4 of our data set. And we also have the largest value. So these are the 5 things we need to be able to construct a box and whisker plot. Smallest value, lower quartile, median, upper quartile, and largest value. Now, when a box and whisker plot has been plotted, there are 2 main things that we can get from this graphical representation that we have, and this is not including what we've used already to plot this graph. And this is the range and the interquartile range. So your range is, these 2 things are a measure of your spread. So your range is a subtraction of your smallest value from your largest value, and your interquartile range subtracts your lower quartile from your upper quartile. Now, the interquartile range is a preferred measure of spread because it doesn't account for outliers. And an outlier is a number which is separated from the majority of your data set. And I'll explain this a bit better. So, if we have a data set that spans from 0 to 100, and actually let's make this 1 to 100, 1 being your lowest number and 100 being your highest number. Now, let's say majority of your data set runs between 50 to 70. And then you have a data set, let's say 1 out here and 100. Now 1 and 100 would be your outliers because they're not within the majority in a sense. So 50 to 70 would represent your box, and 1 to 100 will represent your whiskers, which are your outliers. And I'm just going to go back to the box and whisker plot again. Now, your box is your lower quartile, is spanned, by your lower quartile and your upper quartile, and your median, which is a vertical line inside your box, and these 3 things form your box. And your whiskers are formed by your largest value and your smallest value, which are represented by 2 smaller vertical lines connected to your box with a horizontal line. So now what I have is a data set which I'm going to use to construct a box and whisker plot and to better help explain this better. So I have a data set here going from 3 to 16, and an important note here is to always have your numbers arranged in order. And what I mean by that is your numbers must be arranged from the smallest to the biggest to ensure that you're able to calculate the median accurately. And here that has happened already, but that is not always the case. So in order to find our median, we first need to know the total number of data points we have. Here we have 11. Now, to calculate our median, we calculate n, which is 11 plus 1 divided by 2. So 11 plus 1 divided by 2 would give us 12 divided by 2, which gives us 6. Now this tells us that our median is in the 6th position. It does not tell us that our median is 6. And our median can also be represented by Q2, which I'm just going to note here. So our median here is in the 6th position, and now we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our median here is represented by 11. Okay, now we're going to find our lower quartile. And like I said before, your lower quartile is the number that is at 1/4 of your data set, or 25%. And we calculate that by adding 1 to n and dividing that by 4. So here we have 11, which is our n, plus 1, which gives us 12, as we've done before, divided by 4. And that is 12 divided by 4, which gives us 3. Again, this is not our our lower quartile. This is the position of our lower quartile. So the position here is 3, is the 3rd number. So 1, 2, 3. Our lower quartile here is 8. And then finally, we calculate our upper quartile, which is calculated by 3 multiplied by 11 plus 1, 11 being our n, divided by 2, which here would be 9. So it is our 9th number, which here for us, if we're counting, so we know 11 is our 6th number, so 7, 8, 9, and that will be 13. So our upper quartile here is 13. So going back to the graph we have at the bottom here, and now trying to plot our box and whisker plot, our lower quartile is 8, which is represented by a vertical line here. Our upper quartile is 13, which is represented by another vertical line here. Our median is 11, represented inside the box, and that is connected to form a box. And now we look at our smallest number, which is 3, our largest number, which is 16, and we connect it with a horizontal line to the box to form our whiskers. And now we have the box and whisker plot done. If we were to be asked to calculate our range will be our largest value subtracted by our smallest value, so subtracted from our largest value, and here that would be 14. No, sorry, I was looking at the wrong data set. That will be 16 minus 3. And that gives us 13. And this will be our range. I'm just going to represent that with an R. And now if we needed to calculate our interquartile range, it will be our lower quartile subtracted from our upper quartile. And we know our lower quartile here is 8, and our upper quartile is 13. So 13 minus 8, which will give us 5. And this is our interquartile range, which I'm representing here by IQR. And as you can see, 13 and 5 are very different numbers in terms of the rate, in terms of a measure of our spread, but our interquartile range does show us the range between a majority of our numbers. As you can see in our data set, majority of our numbers lie between 8 to 13, and then we have the outliers being 3, 5, and 16. I hope this is clear. Thank you for listening.